Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Mostly Low Budget Movie Reviews. I am your host, Clarence. Thank you for tuning in. In today's episode, I have a recommendation I received a long time ago, an embarrassing long time ago. Just getting to it now. My apologies. In the coming year, I do promise to be better about knocking out those suggestions. You can message me or comment or, leave any suggestions you might have, and I will definitely get into it. Even the romantic comedy stuff, even stuff I'm not into, I will watch anything. Anyway, this one was highly rated and came out earlier this year, streaming-wise anyway. I believe it was a movie from 2021, but didn't start streaming until this year. It's called Hellbender. And I believe it's a Shudder original, or at least I watched it on Shudder. By the way, if you're into horror and thrillers and that kind of thing, that's a subscription you should really consider. A lot of really good content, old and new, on that platform. But yeah, Hellbender. And outside of it being highly rated, I really don't know anything about it. But I'm hoping this is something off the beaten path. So what is this one about? Well, we start out with a pretty intense hanging of a woman, and they imply she's some sort of witch or something. And the hanging seems to go fine, and then things take a strange turn. Spoiler free. Fast forward to a mother and daughter living in the woods on this mountain in modern times. They live in seclusion with only the mother going into town. Her teenage daughter is being homeschooled and not allowed to leave or interact with anyone. Her mother told her that she's sick. I won't get into any of that. Spoiler free. We learn her mother has some sort of powers or something and is keeping her daughter secluded, and it's more than just about her protection. So her daughter is walking along. She runs into another young girl. They become friends, and she invites her to this pool party. She's taking her first shot of tequila when they talk her into doing a shot with this live worm. She does it, and things don't go quite as planned. And that's where I will stop. Because after that incident, the mom realizes she needs to educate her daughter to their true nature. But is that a mistake? So what did the pros think? Well, they came in at a crazy 97% on 65 reviews. So a pretty good sample size, a very high score on the Rotten scale. But the audience, not so much impressed with it. They came in at a 56% on over 100 reviews. Normally, I kind of get right away where the disconnect is, but this one I need to analyze it a little bit. More on that later. So, what did I think? Well, let me get to the positives. This was not what I expected at all going in. It kept me off balance because I wasn't entirely sure where it was going. There was a lot of dreamy, psychedelic type imagery, which was extremely effective. With a runtime of less than 90 minutes, they get into it pretty quickly, and they don't drag out the reveal of what she is, or what their secret is, I should say. This was a bit of a coming of age story too, mixed with some witchcraft, which is different. On a side note, the soundtrack was really good. Actually, it sounded like some garage type metal band stuff, and it fit perfectly with the theme of what was going on in the movie. And I really liked how this ended. The implications of what it might actually mean. I can already think of a couple of sequel ideas. Too bad I can't write, but I already have the sequel ideas in my head right now. But I do need to get to some negatives. And this is a rare time where you'll get this complaint from me. This is actually too short. They needed to flesh out the daughter's growth and transformation a little bit more. The way it plays out in just over a few scenes when they finally do, the reveal or whatever, it just wasn't enough. So by the time the ending comes around, we don't really feel like it's earned what they show us, because we don't really have a vibe of how far she's come with her development. Of course, there's some acting things that are a little bit off. here and there, a couple of performances that, I didn't really care for, but they were small parts. So, I mean, that's kind of me nitpicking it. But yeah, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot not to like about this one. Let me bottom line this one for you. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I did. I'll put this one right at an 83% on the Rotten scale. Really, the only real major problem with this was the pacing issue. Because, like I said, they were fine, and then all of a sudden they like sped up the events, and then we get to the end, and I'm like, well, you need to show us some of that stuff. So yeah, that's really the only real complaint that I had. It's a very good original take on like a modern day witchcraft type movie. Another example of how to get the most out of a small budget. I mean, it doesn't look or feel cheap. There's some very nice shots here, mostly practical effects, which you can't go wrong with. So definitely check this one out if you're looking for something original. And I did take a look at the reviews, and they were no help. As usual, people will just score things low and did not explain their score. So a lot of the critiques said, oh, worst horror movie ever. Didn't like it. I mean, that doesn't really give me anything to go off of. I mean, why didn't you like it? Give me something. Now, if something's just not your cup of tea, like mumble rap for me, it's just not for me. I don't listen to it, so I don't critique it. So I say, hey, you know what? Let the kids have their fun. If you're into that kind of music, cool, that's for you. It's not for me. So I don't even bother judging it. But when you watch a movie and you just say it's terrible, it's horrible, or whatever, same with me with a lot of romantic comedies. I won't watch them because I already know going in, that's not my vibe. So I'm not, when I get a suggestion to really watch one, I'm able to put my bias, aside. But usually it's just not something that I will pick out. But that's why, looking at the Rotten scale, which is what I like to use, you really get a wide range and see a vibe of what not just critics, but the people have to say. And you can get a good feel on what's really accurate and how you might relate to the movie. But anyway, that's a ramble that I went on. With that being said, I'm going to close it out right here. If this is your first time, don't make it your last. This has been a Podbean production, mostly low-budget movie reviews with Clarence. I am up on all streaming platforms, so don't think you have to download Podbean to listen to me. You can definitely go on Spotify or Apple or Google or iHeart or wherever, and I'm most likely on that platform. Just look me up, and I should be there. So definitely check me out. I appreciate all the support, and hopefully I'll be back again this weekend. Like I said, I do have some time off, but I got some side projects going into the new year. I want to start the new year off right and kind of get my things in order, my plans in effect. But anyway, more on that later because some of that does include this podcast. But thank you once again. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.